Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sunday Pub. Welcome to the Sunday Pub for the first time if you've never been here before. If you don't know what this is, it is a bookish nerdery hangout, and we do, as the whim takes us, reading sprints as well. It depends on how interesting the conversation is. More good conversation, fewer sprints usually. But I'm keen to do sprints this time, actually, because I've been getting into what I was reading last week, Jingo by Sir Terry Pratchett, Discworld, City Watch Book 4, and it took me a little while to really get into it, but I really got into it yesterday, and I'm quite keen to continue. You also may notice I have a new microphone. My voice may sound better. Hopefully it sounds better, although I think for a stream it probably doesn't make much difference because there's a lot of compression and things going on. The only thing I hate about it is this really irritating, extremely obvious branding. I like supporting Australian companies when I can, and Rode is an Australian company, even though they have the weird Scandinavian O with a line through it in their name. Rode is an Aussie company. They make really good stuff. And for the quality, it's actually pretty affordable. But they always put really huge logos on everything they make so that they get lots of free advertising. And I'm not here to advertise for them for free because I actually gave them quite a bit of money for a very good quality microphone. So they can get fucked. As far as the logo goes, and I'm going to be looking for another, like, whatever these things are called. In German, it's called a Popschutz. Yeah, I'm going to be looking for a new one that I can put on here that doesn't have a really obnoxious logo on it. We already have a guest in the pub. Pub regular, Derry, how you doing?
I'm good. I would personally just take a black marker to the back of it and color it in.
That's true. Yeah, that would also probably work just fine, unless it looks more black than the rest, in which case it would be more subtle than this, but still obvious. Anyway, I will try that. That's a good idea.
Yeah. It's, I very rarely have the option to buy alternatives if I've actually forked out for something. I just have to make do.
Well, the thing is, like, this was a set that was, it's got a shock absorber.
Fancy.
Right? It came with the shock absorber, and it came with the Popschutz, and the microphone, and a good XLR cable. You can buy one of these protector things for like $10.
Yeah.
Like you can get one that looks exactly like this. Basically, it doesn't fit in their little screw-on holder, but it looks exactly like this. Does exactly the same thing, and just doesn't have a big logo on it. So, I may do something like that. Let me say hi to everybody.
There's
John,
heaps of people here today.
There are heaps of people here today. John's here. Osa's here. Hi, Osa. Good to see you. Safina's here. I don't think Safina's been here for a while.
I don't remember seeing him for a while.
Yeah. Terry's here. Rogue is, of course, here.
Look at all these fabulous people.
Colton, I was starting to doubt his loyalty, but because he wasn't here last week, I believe. But he's back. That's good.
Big fan.
Good to see you, Colton. Aslan's here. Dornell's here.
Awesome.
Jerome had his 2 minutes of silence, Remembrance Day in the Netherlands, and he has made it now. DK Moon, a round sticker would absolutely defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
Because what this is it's a thin piece of, well, it's two pieces of cloth. So the idea is that sound travels through it with no problem, but the plosives, like when I go plosives don't fly through it and overload the microphone. And if I put a sticker on it, that would actually block sound. So that would be a bad idea. K23's here. Good to see you, man. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're enjoying Jingo. That's awesome.
Yeah, it took me a little while. I mean, I've been in just in general in kind of a slumpy reading mood, to be honest. I haven't been reading much. When I've been doing things, it's been recording videos for my gaming channel or just playing games.
Mhm.
And otherwise, I haven't been doing that. Although I did apply for a job this week, and I
Ooh.
very friendly and polite rejection email.
Oh,
Unfortunately, yeah, I was pretty disappointed. Looking at the
hearing
job,
that is nice. You don't always.
this looks like the perfect job for me.
Oh,
I was really looking forward to hopefully getting it, or at least being invited in for an interview, but I didn't even get that. And I think it's possible, I'm not sure, but I think it might be because a guy I used to work with works there.
mhm.
And I always found him quite difficult. So maybe he also found me difficult. And when they saw on LinkedIn that we worked together, they went to him and they were like, "What do you think of this guy?" And he said, "Hell no. I don't want him to be my boss again."
Yeah.
So yeah, didn't
Yeah.
get the job. I'm actually starting to think, I mean, mid-50s is probably a really bad time to consider this. But I'm starting to think, I would earn a hell of a lot less money, but could I build a career doing YouTube and doing voice acting or voiceovers? Because
Maybe.
the thing on both my channels that I always get the most compliments on
Mm.
is not the way I look, that's for sure, but the way my
Face for
voice
radio.
sounds. Yeah, exactly. It's my voice, which is part of the reason I bought this better microphone. It's a recommended
Nice.
microphone for doing voiceovers or
Ooh.
audiobook reading or whatever. So I was thinking maybe if I start practicing and do a couple of recordings for demo,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll see
I've
how
got
it goes. I mean,
I've got a lot of practicing to do. I'm so bad with my voice. I just talk. It's completely unconscious. I'm not aware of saying and 20 times and all that sort of shit.
no,
So
yes, I don't think.
yeah. Aslan, the gaming channel is going well. I am approaching 900 subs. I get a lot of good feedback on it. So
Nice.
I'm pretty happy with it, actually. I had a bit of a honestly, last couple of weeks, I was really not great mood wise, and I didn't do any videos, but I uploaded a new one yesterday, day before, and I just uploaded another one today, which goes live tomorrow. So yeah, it's coming along. Gaming
Nice.
channel is pretty good. Thank you very much, DK Moon. I think, I suppose that's sort of a compliment. I could pass for a neutral, lawful wizard. I guess because of the shaved head.
Lovely way of saying me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a bit manic this morning. I'm sleep deprived.
I've always thought of myself more as chaotic neutral, to be honest. If I had to, I think every D&D character I ever played was officially chaotic neutral. So yeah, that's more my kind of thing. Claudia's here. Good evening. Ida is also here. Oh, and look,
We've got a full pub today. Oh,
Fitz,
so good to see you all.
Fitz is
Fitz
also
too.
here. Oh,
Feel.
yeah. For anyone who is new around here and doesn't know Fitz, this is my cat, Fitz. Fitz is a female, despite the name. She's named after one of my very favorite fantasy characters ever. And she is a Maine Coon, so she's fucking huge and really furry. Oh my god.
I had a evened out balanced reading month for April. I read a lot of stuff again. I had an incredibly intense reaction to reading Royal Assassin again after not reading Hob last year and coming back to it this year. And it kind of astonished me and took me aback. And I've actually had a couple of weeks break, and I'm starting Assassin's Quest today. But I didn't read anything new. Actually, that's not true. I'm halfway through Changeless, which is new. But yeah, I've mostly been in my own head this month.
Changeless?
It's the second book in the Parasol Protectorates after Soulless.
Okay. I haven't read any of those. I do not know them.
No, they're a bit brain fluffy.
Yeah.
Sort of Victorian romancy with werewolves and vampires. So, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know it's really up your alley.
No, I mean, a very good friend of mine who wrote a book about werewolves.
I think Tori's read them.
Yeah, she also said, I said, you're a good friend of mine, so of course I'm going to buy all your books. And she was like, well, I don't know if phased is really your thing.
May not
like,
be.
I'm going to buy it anyway. Maybe I won't read it, but we'll see.
We'll DK moved on book 5. Sorry.
Yeah.
You may have to turn my volume down. I'm just a bit today.
Terry also said, listened to DCC 2, 3, 4, and 5. That was a very long road trip. Wow.
But so good, right? So good. I was literally tempted before I picked up Assassin's Quest last night to reread Dungeon Crawler Carl again.
Ida, the trick with cats is not to treat them like they are king or queen of the world, but to train them to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I handle Fitz nicely. I mean, I don't treat her bad, but I pick her up when she wants and she doesn't like it. But I do it anyway, and she'll usually give me a minute, like about 60 seconds before she complains and starts squirming. So I can pick her up and put her on my shoulder, no problem. But if I leave her there, she will not stay there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
She will freak out and probably claw my face eventually. Am I still enjoying the afterglow of finishing Last of Us Part 2? I'll tell you, Colton, what I did. I mean, we were talking about this on the Fireside. For anyone who doesn't know, link in the description. The Fireside Discord is the best Bookish Discord because Joanna and Josh and I run it together. I went and found a bunch of very interesting, intelligent people on YouTube who did a lot of sort of analysis and discussion of that game. For anybody who doesn't know, The Last of Us was an amazing story game, which was set in post-apocalyptic zombie apocalypse America. And it mostly follows an old sort of bitter guy and this girl that he has to escort across the country because reasons.
Yeah. And
The Last of Us 2 is more of their story, which I won't get into, but it was very controversial because humans are like 90% idiots. And there was a very strong, kind of bulky, beefed up woman in it. And of course, gamer idiot boys with smooth brains couldn't deal with that. And there's a trans character in it. And there's a lesbian character in it. And yeah, a lot of people lost their shit about it, which made me avoid it for a really long time.
To be fair, they're just the loud portion of the crowd,
yeah,
which is usually the minority. So
yeah, and then on the other side, there were a bunch of very intelligent people who were like, "Oh my god, like this is one of the best stories in video games ever." And I didn't play it for ages, and then I played it last week or 2 weeks ago. And I fall in the best story game ever category. It's definitely in my top 10 games. I'd say it's probably the best story in a game that I've ever played. It's really, really good. Yeah, it's hardcore.
Well, I learned something. Sorry, changing the subject completely.
Yeah, please.
In context with the chat, because we're talking.
Yeah.
In the question. There has just been uploaded this week a video from Audible because they shouted both Jeff Hayes and Matt Dinnerman to get a tattoo of the Dungeon Crawler Carl if they would have Princess Donut tattooed on them. And so we got a video of the two of them getting their tattoos. Jeff
Cute.
Hayes has never had a tattoo, so it's his first tattoo. And he got Donut on his bum. It's a really nice tattoo, actually, like really lovely. Matt Dinnerman is reasonably heavily tattooed, so he got quite a simple drawing of Donut. But they had a conversation while this was happening, sort of a very casual kind of interview for Audible. Matt Dinnerman does not plan the books. He is literally making this shit up as he goes along. That blew my mind because holy crap, it reads intentional. I was
It's interesting. Like George R. R. Martin wrote a number of articles about that. Yeah, he calls it gardening or architecture.
He still has an idea where he's going, though. Like he knows how it is.
Yeah.
Matt Dinnerman
He says he
opens
does.
his Patreon up and says, "What should this be?"
Okay, so he's even doing it with like audience feedback.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Anarchist Cookbook, which he won in book 3, is massively story defining now. Came from his Patreon.
Okay.
Blew my
Interesting.
mind.
Interesting.
Like, it literally blew my mind. I was like, how is he doing this? How can he have so many freaking balls in the air? And he has no clue where it's going. Because it feels like he knows where he's going.
Thornall, yes. People were mad because there's a big change in the cast between the first game and the second game. And a lot of people greatly objected to that. To me, that's also pretty smooth brain and immature. Like if they didn't do what they did in the second game, the story wouldn't have been nearly as good. And it's funny. It left me thinking a lot about different crowds, and my book reading crowd. We expect big things to happen in some of the books we read. You know, like somebody dies or some place gets completely destroyed or whatever, especially if we're reading good fantasy. And we take that as this is part of what we're actually reading the book for. You know, is this emotional movement that it inspires in us. And gamers, not so much.
Okay.
So games where favorite characters die or where, you know, horrible things happen and whatever, people lose their shit about it because I wanted to play the game because of that guy or that particular aspect of the story or whatever, you know.
Gotcha.
So, but I highly recommend it, Thornall. It is, like I said, I would say top story games for me. Last of Us Part 1 and 2, Red Dead Redemption 2. The Witcher was also pretty good, Witcher 3, etc. If you like those kind of games, you should definitely play The Last of Us Part 2. It's so good. It's really, really good. Andrea is here. Andrea used to be in the pub quite regularly, but I haven't seen you in a long time, if my memory serves me correctly. Andrea,
Well,
good to see you. Yeah.
Or maybe lurking. Who knows?
Little quiz online. One of
Complete title of Frankenstein.
it is not Frankenstein or the Modern Homunculus. It is Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus.
Yes.
But that's cute. He is a homunculus. I mean, technically.
Yes.
So sure. Yeah. Ryan, good to see you. Every time I see your name with your icon, your avatar, Ryan, I think you're Ryan Cahill. Because the cover of his first book, I think, is black with a red dragon on it. I know that that's the Targaryen heraldry, that avatar, but it just pops into my head every time. Like, Ryan Cahill's here. Anyway, good to see you, Ryan. I'm pretty sure you're not Ryan Cahill. Yeah,
For
Red
all
Dead
we know,
Redemption
he actually
2.
secretly is.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, hunting in Red Dead 2 was a lot of fun, and it's certainly something you can do for 300 hours alone. But I got so into the story that I basically just mainlined the story all the way through without doing hardly anything else. And then afterwards, I did a lot of sort of exploring and side quests and hunting and all that sort of stuff. Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I've never even heard of that, Ryan.
Or me. Brian!
Huh.
We will still be here, Brian.
Andrea's back. Yeah, and Last of Us Part 2 is also really fun gameplay-wise. They improved the gameplay, like the combat and the movement and all that sort of stuff. They improved that quite a lot, which makes it a hell of a lot more, that part of the game anyway, a lot more fun than Part 1. Mr. Bell, your dad needs you to schlep something. Go schlep. We'll be here in an hour. No problem.
We'll still be here.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. Not Ryan Cahill. All right.
Well, yeah.
That's good.
This way. And who the hell is Leviticus called? Okay. I wish I could go to the gaming talk. I really do. But my brain just can't do the thing. So.
Okay, so Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is a turn-based RPG getting seriously great reviews. Okay. I mean, Brian Beltube and I were both quite into Baldur's Gate 3, which is also a turn-based RPG, and enjoyed it a hell of a lot. Although I've got to say, the main thing I think I enjoyed about Baldur's Gate 3 was the insane number of branches that the devs put into the game. Like, so often in Baldur's Gate 3, you can come up with a totally bizarre idea. I want to do this to this character, or go there and get that with that character, or whatever. Things that are not obvious, things that are not sort of in the mainstream of the story, and they're in the game.
Oh, okay.
They like, you come up with weird things, and then the game's like, yeah, sure, no problem, go ahead. And you do it, and you're like, wow, this is really interesting. And you end up with a totally different ending to the game because of it. And it's really, really cool.
Wow.
Turn-based combat in Expedition 33 is a lot more involved. Okay. Then maybe I wouldn't like it, because Baldur's Gate 3 was kind of on the border for me. It's like, okay, this is fun, but if it was much more complicated, it'd probably get tedious. But who knows? Aslan is always the one who asks every week, yes. What is everyone reading?
Well, as I said, I'm doing Assassin's Quest again. Because obviously I miss it, because I didn't read it last year. And maybe that's why I'm a bit discombobulated. I don't know. But,
I said it right at the beginning, but for anyone who joined later, I'm still reading Shiny Jingo. It's almost blinding with that gold
so
foil.
Good. It's such a good
It's
book.
Nice. Yeah, it's also a great cover. I love these illustrations. I love these small hardback volumes. I love having a bookmark ribbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Feels great in the hand. It's not like a big, heavy hardback, but it feels more quality than a paperback.
Really does. Who was I talking to in the Discord this morning? Mitch was in the Discord this morning going, what should I read next? And everyone's going, you've got to read Equal Rights. Don't worry about Colour of Magic, of the ones he had to choose from. And he's like, I will take your advice on board. And I'm sitting here reading the chat going, he's totally going to read Colour of Magic.
He's Mitch.
I'm starting to read Colour of Magic, having fun. And I'm like, well, actually, that's great, because this is the weakest one. And if you're having fun now, it's probably going to get better.
Just Mitch being Mitch. I would never expect Mitch to ask for advice and then take it.
It's just been very odd lately. Mitch is reading stuff that I like, and loving the things that I like. And I'm like, has he undergone some kind of metamorphosis, or should I be frightened?
I've got to shout out Ursa's comment. Anybody I've become, as everybody knows, probably a big Adrian Tchaikovsky fan in the last half a year. If you haven't read Guns of the Dawn, it's awesome. It's kind of Napoleonic period, but magic exists, more or less. And it's
but
kind of
much more cleverly done than the magic dragons exist in Napoleonic times that Naomi Novik did in Temeraire. Much better.
Haven't read that, but I've read one Naomi Novik, whatever her name is, and hated it.
Was it Spinning Silver or Uprooted?
I think it was Uprooted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like that one.
It was I DNF'd it. It was garbage. I couldn't stand it.
I love Spinning Silver. I thought it was marvelous.
It was, Uprooted had one of those Mary Sue kind of characters who's ever so special and can do everything, and there's no explanation for why. And I really didn't like it. It was really bad.
Oh, Colton's also watching Doctor Who. Yes.
But Guns of the Dawn is awesome, and Shards of Earth, I think, for me, was even better. Shards of Earth is the first book of the Final Architecture trilogy. It's space opera with lots of weird aliens and over-the-top epic shit. It's really, really, really good. So good.
Okay.
Tori's here, and she will join us later, probably.
Yeah. Yes, good. See, Farnell enjoyed Spinning Silver.
Needs to feed the kids.
And DK, Dungeon Crawler Carl is Act 7. There's planned to be about 10. So there's more to come.
Jerome is giving in to the hype and reading The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Everyone's reading The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, I have the feeling. Colton.
There's a lot of people reading it.
Drink Before the War by Dennis Lehane. I'd still like to read some Lehane. I do occasionally have an urge to get out of the SFF ghetto and read. Yeah, everything's a ghetto if you're inside it. I'd like to occasionally dip out and reread some Paul Auster and also read some crime fiction, because what I have read I really enjoyed.
Nice.
Blackmouth by Ronald Malfi, another one I haven't read.
Okay.
Tori, throwing in some City Watch love. Ida is not reading anything. That sounds like something that needs to be remedied.
What that really means is I'm looking at my bookshelves and all of them want to be read and I can't choose. I don't know what I feel like.
True.
It's like when you open your pantry and you're hungry and you're like, I don't know what I want to eat. So you just don't.
Now, see, I go the other way. Like, if I don't know what to eat, I usually end up eating multiple things and more than I should.
I'm trying to stop doing the whole, I don't know what I'm going to cook for dinner, so I'm just going to snack for now. And then it's bedtime and I've just
I always order food because I'm just too lazy for cooking and I'm too lazy for shopping. And and Tori says, your shirt is super cute. And it is. She's right.
I bought it from an op shop. So,
okay.
Yay. Opportunity shop, secondhand shop.
Secondhand shop. Yeah. For everybody who didn't grow up in Oceania.
Yeah.
What is everyone watching lately?
I actually finished watching House. I know it's old. I'm so far behind that it's ridiculous, but I enjoyed it. So.
I've been watching a few things, but the main thing I've probably been regularly watching is Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, that's with Steve Martin, yeah? And,
Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Short, yeah.
Yeah, otherwise known as Steve Martin Short. Yeah.
And the young girl from the Disney Channel.
Yeah. I forget her name, the actress. But I I saw it pop up. I mean, it's like 4 years old or 5 years old. I saw it pop up at some point, and I was like, two really old actors,
Could be
and
great.
and just the promotion of it looked. There's a particular kind of show that I call "Oh So Very New York,"
Okay.
right? And Seinfeld is "Oh So Very New York," and I don't know what other, but it's a show that kind of revolves around how special and weird and eccentric New York and New Yorkers are.
Sex and the City.
And Sex and the City, Friends, kind of,
Yeah.
these kinds of shows. And I just looked at like the bit I saw, and I was like, two really old actors doing "Oh So Very New York." No, thank you.
But
then
it's
recently-
those very old actors, and
I mean, they're both hilarious,
Yeah.
no question. But recently on the far side, in the movies and series channel, somebody was, I think it was Kyle and Colton, were talking about Only Murders in the Building, and I was like, okay, maybe I should give it a try. And it's fun. It's really fun. I'm totally enjoying it. Yeah. And this week, I'm going to the cinema, not once, but twice. I haven't been to the cinema. I don't remember when I was last in the cinema.
I was trying to think when the last time I went was.
Tuesday, my best mate, his girlfriend, and I are going to watch Thunderbolts,
Ooh.
which is the new kind
MCU?
of MCU underdog group-ish
'Cause
thing.
It's the sister and the dad from Black Widow's
Black Widow, yeah,
uh,
exactly.
origin story, and
It's
the-
basically a whole bunch of characters you don't know.
Yeah.
Like really.
like it's literally the maybe J Squad.
other than Bucky,
Yeah,
the
I
Winter
know.
Soldier. Bucky is pretty well known, but everybody else is kind of like, who are you?
I love that character that there's Black Widow's sister. I can't think what her name is in the
Yeah,
movie.
I can't think of.
But I
her
really
name
like
either.
her character, so
Yeah.
I am looking to watch that when it releases on streaming.
We're seeing that on Tuesday, and then the girlfriend doesn't want to see it, so my best mate and I are going again on Thursday to see Sinners, which
That's
everybody has been raving
vampire one?
about. Huh?
Is that the vampire one?
I don't actually know that much about it, and I don't really want to. I just
Oh, okay.
keep hearing from people that it's really, really good. Kyle on the Fireside
Yep.
wrote, I have seen Sinners in the cinema now 3 times, and I do not
Ooh.
regret it. I'm like, okay.
Okay. Because
But
I did look at it and think,
Like
same
that's
thing. I'm hearing a lot of good stuff, and it feels like an atmospheric movie that would work at the movies the best.
Yeah.
And I was tempted.
and that's like
So
seeing
I'm
it 3 times in 2 weeks as well.
let's
So
go again,
yeah. Yeah.
because it's been a while since I went to the movies, and I like going to the movies.
Let's celebrate this rare occasion. Ida and I agree on something.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy Uprooted. I liked the
Uprooted
first half of Uprooted,
Garbage.
but I didn't like the second half at all.
I just couldn't stand the
Silver
character.
was really, really enjoyable. I enjoyed that a lot. Having said that, trying to find something similar, I felt like I was just going to lose my mind until I read Evie's favourite series, which is The Bear and the Nightingale, which had a very similar kind of wintry, folk-tale-y vibe that's quite dark, and it's wonderful. I mean, that's even better. So,
Yeah. I, Colton, am watching the same things you are, except for Doctor Who.
why aren't you watching Doctor Who? Sorry.
Because I can't get it in Germany.
Really? I tell you what, it's hard to get in New Zealand.
It's so weird. Like the licensing, the international licensing for it is so
Very
strange
We can get
because
series 5, and we can get one of the Peter Capaldi seasons, and we don't have anything else.
that's even weirder than Germany.
It's
Germany,
strange.
the latest season, maybe it's 2 seasons, the Black Doctor, the new guy.
Georgie Gatwa.
Yeah. I loved him in Sex Education. I thought he was
Glorious.
like amazing. And I thought, okay, cool. Like gay black doctor. I'm here for it.
I did manage to stream that one, actually, that latest
You can
series.
get that season on Disney Plus
Yes.
for free or included with the subscription. Everything else before that is pay extra, and it's on, I think, Amazon Prime, not Disney. So there's some sort of licensing thing.
But I'm in New Zealand, and they don't have everything. They tell you that it's there, but then it says not available in your country. So I was like feeling crushed last year. I thought maybe I should just buy them because, I'd really like to have them. And I can't even buy them.
I went looking. I was actually talking to Nerdy Kathy. She offered to buy the entire Blu-ray set and send it to me because over here, the only thing I could find was as an entire set was all of the Blu-rays for the low price of 440 euros. Yeah. And she said I can buy all of them for $180. And Australian dollars are super weak right now. The Australian dollar is like nothing right now, so that would be like 90-ish euro.
Yeah.
And then you put another 20, 30 postage on top of it. It's actually still super cheap. So I might actually have her do it at some point. Let me just okay. I invited Carlos to the pub, but he just wrote me to say he forgot and can't make it. He's out with his folks. So I'm watching Last of Us season 2, which is, I think, going to be the first half of the second game. I'm also watching The Studio. The Studio is fucking hilarious. It's on Apple Plus. If you're wondering why I keep doing this, I have a really weird cramp down the side of my ribs.
Okay. What have you? I don't know if I want to know. What have you been doing?
I'm not moving enough, probably.
Well, that'll do it.
Yeah. The Studio.
It's the age we're at. It's waking up and going, I don't know why, but I hurt more now that I've woken up than when I went to bed. Sleep injuries, totally a thing. They don't tell you this when you're young.
The Studio is a very, very hilarious comedy by Seth Rogen, starring Seth Rogen, about a production company or a production studio in Hollywood. Okay. And it's just all of the kind of hilarious things that they have to go through to get movies made. And it's in the same way that Only Murders in the Building is oh so very New York. This one is oh so very Hollywood.
Right.
Like The Player, if you've ever seen the movie The Player, it's also oh so very Hollywood. Lots of movie references and Hollywood jokes. But I'm into movies, so I'm totally here for it. I'm not rewatching Adventure Time, however. Not yet, anyway.
I have been watching, this sounds weird, but I've been watching Mastermind. I've discovered that they're all on YouTube, and I've watched about 4 seasons of Mastermind in the last month. There's something really satisfying about when suddenly out of nowhere somebody comes on and their specialist subject is the Lord of the Rings. And you're like, oh, I could answer these questions. And then you do. And you're like, I am totally smart enough to do Mastermind. And then they do the general knowledge portion and you're like, actually, no, I'm not.
No.
I didn't know any of those.
Rogue, please allow us to save you from misery. Do not read that book. It is garbage.
It's not great. If you want to read really one of the books, Spinning Silver.
Spinning Silver, everybody, I've said to people numerous times, Uprooted was garbage. I'm never reading Naomi Novik again. And people are like, no. Spinning Silver is totally different, and it's much, 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 much better.
Oh, if I had read Uprooted first, there is no way I would have read Spinning Silver. There's just no way.
Yeah.
But because I read that one first, I gave Uprooted an awful lot of grace. And I think I DNF'd it about 80%. I was like, no, it could get better. It could get better because Spinning Silver really landed for me. And
I think I only got about 30% through, and I was like, if it's this bad this far, it won't get better.
I don't care.
It will not get better.
No.
Yeah, everybody's watching Doctor Who. Aslan's watching Doctor Who. Rogue wants to catch up on Doctor Who. I would. This is why I wanted the Blu-ray set, because my Doctor Who history is very sporadic. Like when I was a kid, I used to watch the old classic.
You'll be a Tom Baker.
I'm a Tom Baker.
As well, yeah.
I'm a Tom Baker stan, die hard, forever.
Jelly babies. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ride or die for Jelly Babies. So that was my Who, and I watched it every week religiously back in the day when television actually only came out every week.
Yeah.
and you couldn't watch it later. So I watched all of that, and even the really old classic black and white stuff on repeats and all of that. And then for many years, there was no Doctor Who, and I lost awareness of it, and it restarted without me being aware of it. And at some point I was like, okay, I watched.
Now I'm behind.
Yeah, I watched a bit here and a bit there and all sort of disjointed. And now I've completely lost access to anything except the absolute newest season. So yeah.
I'm actually watching somebody on YouTube react to the series, and it's bloody marvelous. It really is. Just as they encounter things, they're like, oh my God, this is great. Are we going to see this person again? I don't know. People going, that's got to go somewhere. And I'm sitting here going, you're never seeing those people again. Other things that they've brushed off, I'm like, you didn't notice the thing. And because it's important. I'm having fun watching other people watch Doctor Who.
How are you liking Suneater, Mac? I would say if you're on book 5 already, you are probably enjoying it. I chewed through those, like all of them, in about 3 weeks because I got so into them. They were a really fun read. Inconsistent is my main negative feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them, I don't know. Each book kind of has a bit of its own theme and its own feel and mood and pacing within the series. So if one of the books is one that you really, really liked, the next one might be one that's like, yeah, it's still good, but it's not as good as that was, you know. But I think that's intentional as well. I think the overall story hangs together and everything. It's just there's a very different feel in Howling Dark compared to Demon in White or Ash's Man or whatever. Yeah. Hey, Demi Drek. You'd probably like my t-shirt. I have my Bone Hunters t-shirt on today. Unwitnessed. For those of you who know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, Colton, everyone wants to read The Devils.
Oh, there you go. Colton's wanting to read some David Mitchell and the Rogues. Like, Cloud Atlas has been my book of the year so far.
House of Chains is a big step up from Dead House Gates and Gardens of the Moon. I know a few people who would disagree with you. Especially Dead House Gates. Like, Dead House Gates is very highly ranked.
Yes.
Neither of them are in my top 3. But, I mean, House of Chains or Dead House Gates, neither of them are in my top 3, but still, awesome books. I mean, a bad Malazan book is better than almost every other book. So, you know. Ida has also read The Devils.
You're a long way behind.
I'm a huge way behind. We've been talking too much. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Andor season 2. I've also been watching. They're doing an interesting thing with Andor season 2. So they're releasing 3 episodes at once.
Oh yeah.
And each 3 episodes happen basically together.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next 3 episodes are 1 year later.
Okay.
In the story.
Nice.
And it's the 4 years before the Battle of Yavin. So when they destroy the Death Star.
Yeah. The Rogue One movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, right before the Rogue One movie, and the Battle of Yavin is then when Luke actually destroys the Death Star. It's also been inconsistent so far, I would say. The first 3, the BBY before the Battle of Yavin 4, which is the first 3, I thought was awesome. I thought, yes, Andor, we're back. Awesome, let's go. And the BBY 3, which just came out, I was like, this is kind of disjointed and the pacing's really weird, and I'm not super excited by
I wonder if it's also a product of that kerfuffle that Netflix had with the whole Warner's takeover and the budgeting all being screwed up that affected House of the Dragon season 2, where they all sort of got to, we have a plan for the season, this is what we're doing, and then they all kind of got told, right, you're getting this much time and this many episodes, and you don't have time to rewrite because there's a writer's strike on, and you just have to make it work. And I wonder if this is going to be one of those bubbles of TV that everyone has to consider There was external influences.
No, but this is all post writer strike.
Okay.
The writer strike was a while ago.
Yeah, I know. But
I mean,
House
like a
the
couple of
Dragon
years
season
ago.
3 only came out last year, and
Yeah.
that was sort of sped through post production.
Yeah.
And it was heavily impacted by the takeover of Netflix.
Maybe it was somehow affected by that. But then why was season 1 or BBY4, or why was that so good? I mean, it's one season, you know, like they all belong to the same season. It's just 3 episodes and then another 3 episodes. So,
but they did again. I think I'm just super aware of it because of House of the Dragon. The first half of season 2 was fantastic. It was building really well. The pacing was really great, and the second half just kind of stopped.
yeah,
It was
a bit
building to something huge,
slower.
and we didn't get it because they hadn't filmed it, and they were like, "You can't now."
Mac here quoting the studio. It's just a ripoff of Chinatown, which it was. They do some really, really smart things. It's an extremely clever show, and it's one of those shows where even though I'm into Hollywood and movies and all of that, I know I'm only getting about half the references. Yeah. Demi Drek. This is my Bone Hunter shirt.
Very cool.
And it's shiny silver.
Shiny.
Yeah. It's actually handmade by a guy in Poland, so it's completely unofficial, but awesome.
Hey, most of the Firefly merch out there is unofficial and without it.
Most of the merch out there is unofficial.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ida, I will never know how Uprooted ended. And I actually don't care.
Yeah. Although the Timore series mentioned again by, I can't remember who now. I've read the first 2. I have the third. I don't know that I'm going to continue it at this point. First one was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I thought, yep, that's clever. But the second one just really brought home how narrow the creation of the story is, because the premise is that this is the Napoleonic Wars, but dragons exist, and so the navies have dragons. So, but if they're part of a system, if they're part of a world, they need to be integrated into that world, and they're just not. They're just like, no, this.
It's just Napoleonic world
just
with
added dragons.
and dragons.
Changed the world.
Okay.
To allow for the fact that dragons exist.
Yeah, where do the dragons come from? What's their ecology? Well, you're a Realm of the Elderlings reader, and those dragons are the best developed dragons in fiction.
Yes.
Hands down. I mean, they're insanely good. Has anyone here read David Mitchell? Yes, Colton.
Yeah.
Although I've only read Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas is an absolute banger. I think you, Colton, I wouldn't recommend it to everyone necessarily because it has a very weird structure. For anyone who doesn't know Cloud Atlas,
it's a book.
It's basically a series of stories, short stories, which go through history. So the first story is in like the 19th century, and the last story is in 2300 or something. It's in the future. And they go through all of these different things, and the structure is kind of like this. So they go from the 19th century story to the future story, the sci-fi story in the middle of the book, and then they go backwards.
Okay.
So the first and last story belong together.
Okay.
Basically. It's a weird structure, which a lot of people kind of struggle with, but like Rogue said, book of the year so far. It's really good. And I haven't read the Bone Clocks, but I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, I've heard good things. Jimmy's loved it.
Yeah, Jimmy loved it. I absolutely loved Cloud Atlas. The movie is all right, but the book is much more interesting than the movie. And I would say, Colton, none of his books are really connected. Like,
So just wherever you want.
you can read whatever you want whenever you want. So, yeah. Capricious Fox could never get into Doctor Who. I am very sorry for you.
That makes me sad, but I get it because it's a very
British.
It's a weird show. It's not like anything else, and trying to explain it is really hard. And if you think it's a thing and you watch it and you get one of the episodes that isn't what you think, you can bounce off it pretty hard.
Yeah.
I try. People who haven't seen Doctor Who and want to watch it, I've just said, just let go of any expectations. You might get a silly episode, or you might get one that's really intense and dark and dangerous. It could be either. It could be both.
At the same time, yeah.
Because that's something that Doctor Who does.
I think if anyone was starting with Doctor Who, I would recommend to them to commit to a season.
Yeah, you need to do at least a season.
Because judging, like you just said, judging individual episodes is really difficult because some of them are genius.
Yeah.
And dark and creepy or amazingly written or whatever, and others are just playful silliness.
Yeah.
And that's all part of Doctor Who, but you need to sort of take in the whole thing to really get it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Although having said that, I will always, if someone's like, is there an episode? Yes, there is an episode that is standalone that you can just watch and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Although the more, like a lot of these series, the more you know about the Doctor and his history and what he is and all of that, the more you get out of it. I haven't read Slade House, Colton. If you've already got it and it's nice and short, go ahead and read it and come back and let us know. I'm really curious. I would like to read more. I want to read the Bone Clocks for sure. I don't know about Slade House. I haven't heard that much about it, but Rogue, what is wrong with you?
It's such a good show.
I've watched both seasons twice.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody who hasn't watched it because they bounced so hard off the end of Game of Thrones. I was like, yeah, but it's going to be different. And House of the Dragon, amazing. Because of the source material. The source material, Fire and Blood doesn't have the facts. Fire and Blood is this thought experiment, if you like, from George.
It's a very unreliable narrator's history.
And deliberately so.
Yeah.
Because not only have you got contradictory people telling you what happened, you also have it then being compiled by a maester for the Baratheons. So anything in it that has to do with the Targs is being written.
It's been purified.
In a not great light.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wow. So there's all of that. So there's only the fixed points that they have to land on in House of the Dragon. How they get between it is completely up to them. And they are doing an amazing job with it. And I can't talk about House of the Dragon without adding that Paddy Considine was robbed. Just robbed. Wasn't even nominated for an Emmy.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a crime. That is a crime because he was amazing.
He was mind-boggling.
Absolutely awesome. Yeah.
In that. So yeah, catch up with House of the Dragon because it is just so good.
Yeah, Thornall, that is definitely the creepiest Doctor Who episode ever. And one of the best also, I think. And you'll never walk through an old school graveyard the same way ever again. There's a between in Sydney, there's a walk along the cliffs. And it goes past this really huge, really old cemetery. I think it's the oldest cemetery in Sydney. So probably the oldest in Australia. It's called the Coogee. It's from Coogee Beach to Bronte Beach. I think it's the Coogee Bronte walk. And there's this huge old cemetery with like 200-year-old angel statues and stuff on graves. And we did a walk, my girlfriend and I years ago, we did a walk along there.
Give you the heebie-jeebies.
And we timed it really badly. We hung out in the pub in Coogee way too long. And when we left, it was already kind of late. And it was kind of getting dark. It was just sunset-ish.
I couldn't do that.
And we were walking through this or next to this huge old cemetery. And I was like, I looked at her and I was like, you've never watched Doctor Who, have you? She's like, no. I was like, okay, that's good. Yeah,
I
it was
literally can feel the
creepy.
hair on the back of my neck prickling just at the idea of that.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
yeah. That's something actually Doctor Who does really well, and it's that reality of what is scary. Like, it's not the big monsters. The things that are scariest are the things that make a noise in your closet. They're the ordinary things that suddenly become menacing. So
The what are they called? The gentlemen?
Oh, from Buffy. Hush.
Oh, that is that is from Buffy.
Yeah.
I'm confusing them. That was something similar. When I first
Yeah.
I watched Buffy only recently, like a year ago. And
But they just look like people.
when I saw them, I was like, this is Buffy's Weeping Angels.
Yeah.
Like, this is totally Buffy's Weeping Angels because they are creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that sense that something that you encounter ordinarily might be malignant and malevolent and a risk to you. Like, that's scarier. The statues, the Weeping Angels as a villain are so much more terrifying than anything else that I think I've ever seen.
I want to take a moment to say hi to Penny. I believe this is Penny. Penny is a friend from my gaming channel, and she and I have actually played Medieval Dynasty together and are probably going to do some collaboration videos together soon. But I don't think I've ever seen her in the pub. Welcome to the pub, Penny. I call her Penny. She told me to call her Penny because nobody can pronounce Danish names correctly. So although I thought my Danish pronunciation wasn't that bad, I pronounced her name once and she was like, yeah, call me Penny.
It was that bad. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Jerome, you're just a quitter.
Yeah, the gentleman was freaky. Yeah.
You're just a quitter, Jerome. No, maybe you've just been watching the wrong shows. I don't know.
Part of the reason they were creepy, the gentlemen from Buffy, was that they floated just above the ground. So they didn't walk.
I think a lot of
got closer.
I think a lot of what really creeped me out about the gentlemen was their hands, because they were constantly doing something weird with their hands, and I was like, skin crawly, don't like, bad, stop. Playing Guild Wars 2. Wow. That's a blast from the past.
I don't even own a TV.
I have a really big TV.
Nope.
This was actually one of the things that I treated myself to when I moved into a proper flat finally. Look who it is.
Hello.
It's Tori, the famous Tori who talks.
I do occasionally. Yes.
And writes. Tori
and has a book coming out very shortly.
Good books. Yes.
I actually just got the Amazon proof copy in the mail like a day ago, which I haven't even opened it yet. I'm going to probably tomorrow, but yeah, I'm very excited.
We're all very excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a big month for BookTube books.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I'm just riding the talking story coattails at this point, honestly.
You brought out your first 2 books before they even started writing, so
yeah, if you count just my adult ones, yeah.
Exactly. I don't care about your kids' books.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Only published before the age of,
I know you were a child genius, but I don't want to read anything you wrote.
I wouldn't go
14.
that far.
Yeah, another Joss Whedon thing was the men from Blue Sun. Yeah, 2x2 hands of blue. Yeah.
But
you guys were talking about the Weeping Angels, and I had to show up.
You had okay. I didn't realize that was your summoning word.
That was my first ever Doctor Who episode. Was the Weeping Angels?
Oh wow, good start.
So Blink was your first foot. I love it.
Yep.
It's kind of all downhill from there, though.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I think
there's a lot of really good Doctor Who, but like Weeping Angels is like.
Well, that's the pinnacle of scary, but not necessarily
right. It was an intro to fiction class, and my professor, who is a wonderful, awesome person, you know, it's a gen ed class, so there's like the nerds, and then there's the kids who have to be here to graduate, right? And there's kind of like and he had everybody in the room was just glued to that screen and played Blink, and then at the end he turned the lights off in the classroom. And some girl who's like, you know, one of the volleyball girls behind me just screamed.
Yes.
And bless him, he thought that was, he's a very like nerdy English professor, so he was all like giggly and thought it was very funny afterwards. And she was like, I'm not okay.
And to be fair, okay, that's reasonable.
That's fair. Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful, that fits. See, he's just showing off.
Matt's fur coat.
Yeah.
Really, what it is, he's jealous that you have two, Tori. So he's gone, okay, Pippin and Nova together probably make up a fits.
About
almost
2/3.
Yeah.
Has she always had a white spot on her head?
She has. It's been growing and sort of changing shape.
I see that. Yeah, I didn't.
But yeah, she's always had a white spot. Like when I got her, it was smaller.
Sure.
But she's always had it looks like someone spilled bleach on her face or something. And it's like, it couldn't be cool and perfectly centered or something. It's like over here in kind of a weird shape, you know? Yeah. It's a birthmark. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Fitz has a badger look.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's a thing.
I can start calling her Tom.
You can.
Instead.
This is a Hob thing for people in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. This is a Realm of the Elderlings reference for anyone who hasn't read the books. We're not having a stroke.
Not again. No.
Not again. Yeah.
Yeah, Blink is a very traumatizing thing.
The Reavers are also terrifying. I agree.
The Reavers, yeah.
They're not quite the same in terms of nightmare scary, because you expect to be scared by them. You're like, okay, yes.
I think what's scary about the Reavers is how like they really played on the mystery aspect of the Reavers. So the fact that there's terror,
what are they?
Right, and the fact that there's terror, we only know what they do, which is terrifying by itself.
Really horrific.
Yeah.
But they themselves weren't. Well, I mean, they were like violence scary, but they weren't creepy like the angels or the gentlemen.
Yeah.
Like that was to me what was. To me, that makes the angels and the gentlemen so much scarier because they're just right there and nothing's hidden, and just being able to see them is creepy as hell. You know, so yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's really sad.
ZK also his wife had the same experience.
Episode.
It is.
I mean, it's brilliant, and I think it was one of Carrie Mulligan's earliest jobs. But such a good episode. Very Dr. Light, though. He's in it for maybe 5 minutes.
The Cybermen.
It depends which story about Cybermen.
I found the Cybermen very creepy when I was a kid, but everything Cybermen I've seen since I grew up a little has been like, these guys are just really cheap suits. Like I can't get past just looking at them as costumes. You know, because they seem so costumey. They look so plastic, you know.
It depends on the episodes, you know, whether the writers have got a story around them that's scary, because, you know, that's what makes it scary. But yeah, the empty planet that had created the Reavers was scary.
Yeah.
It was very, and it was that creepy kind of scary where you're just like, if something moves, I'm going to lose my shit. Sort of scary, because you're like, I'm on absolute tenterhooks here, and that's a tiny thing that
could be anything, anywhere.
Is going to kill me. It's fright. And
how do we feel about a reading sprint?
We have to find out what Tori's reading.
What is Tori reading?
Going to make some people very happy.
Woo!
Yep, I read the
Dr.
first
Rockio.
chapter last night, and it's always interesting when you've been, I don't know how to say this, when you like get back to a series that just intentionally utilizes very elevated prose, and you're just like, oh, like It's just
This is going to be
It's like a warm bath.
so nice. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I like so many different styles of writing, but it's always when it's well done, it's just like chef's kiss.
He definitely prose is good.
Prose is good.
Yeah, he can prose.
That's good, England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you that is possibly the worst book in the series.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah. It goes considerably uphill for the next couple of books.
Nice. I mean, I don't have like any preconceived expectations because I'm coming into this kind of out like past the initial giant hype train that happened with it, which was kind of intentional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy with it so far.
Cool.
I have thoughts.
Oh my God, look who it is. I don't know how many times I've invited this man only to be rebuffed again and again. And yet, here's Jimmy Nuts.
Howdy.
What? I gotta leave now.
Oh, damn.
Hi, Jimmy.
Matt, the issue is on Sundays, I don't do anything on the internet and I just leave my house usually. So it's like I'm always out.
Same. Yeah.
Though I do watch everything back.
It's your fault for having a life.
I reckon.
It's like I have to have one day where I just kind of like leave my my castle.
This is the advantage to time zones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I can have a Sunday and I almost never like who plans things on Sunday night. You know, Sunday night is always like, oh, I got to work tomorrow and chilling out.
I do hate when people plan things on Sunday nights. Like that is abhorrent. I mean, like leaving the house on
right.
Sunday nights.
Well, you're always invited to come
it.
to the Sunday pub on my Sunday night, and that's kind of like you staying home on a Sunday night.
You need to talk to Colin. He's considering David Mitchell.
Well, he should definitely read David Mitchell. I watch.
Have you read Slate House?
Yeah, I've read Slate House. Yeah.
Okay. Tell Colton about Slate House.
Slate House
Whether
is very.
Should be his first David Mitchell or not.
Yeah. It would be fine to read first. I don't think it's his greatest work, but it has a lot of his strengths. But like, it's really short, which is nice. But I do recommend reading Bone Clocks and Slate House side by side. Like not at the same time, but like the next book you read, you should do Bone Clocks because Bone Clocks and Slate House have some tie over. Magic wise, it's really interesting.
Nice.
So, yeah. And then I read Ghost Written, which had Cloud Atlas characters. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, whoa. Oh, yeah. Like in my favorite one.
I've only read Cloud Atlas and it's a while ago. So I want to, like, I've heard you talk about him so much. And I was like, I remember David Mitchell from, I don't know, 8 years ago when I read Cloud Atlas.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like I should get back into him.
Yeah, I mean, I love him. I think he does great character work, and I don't know. I also find him to be quite funny. Tori, you have a book coming out, right?
Yeah,
I do. Yes,
she
Pivot.
does.
Yes,
Pivot.
Which has nothing to do with David Mitchell. Unfortunately.
But it's way more exciting because we know you.
Yeah, 23 days.
Screw David Mitchell. We know you.
Yeah. Yep, I'm very excited. I'm at the point now where I'm just like, okay, now I like everything's kind of done, and I need to get here faster. Yeah.
I've read a fair bit of it, and it's
That's
good.
right. I did send you an arc, didn't I?
You did. Well, you see, I was one of your beta readers who failed to complete beta reading.
It's okay.
I was perhaps your most useless beta reader.
That's fine.
But I did read a fair bit, and I have given you a spotlight on the pub numerous times. So I'm hoping to make up for the slack beta reading.
I'll add it to the quota.
If you like westerns, and cold, and necromancy,
lots of horses.
This book's got you covered.
Yep.
Lots of horses.
That's a lot of check boxes for people. I think people could enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, Brian Bell did say that it was too much in the horse department for him personally, which I told him he's just going to have to deal with it. But
Well, I think there should be horses in westerns. I
well, yeah,
imagine.
and I can't
Horses
write
are
a
kind
horse
of
without
essential.
I can't write a horse without giving it a character, especially in a fantasy western novel.
Nice.
So she doesn't. The main one, the main character's horse, doesn't have a name. She's just the roan mare, and she is persnickety and stubborn, and she's great fun. So
Like
I poured some of my experience from some of the persnickety horses I have had the opportunity to work with.
I was just really happy that I got to give you some 6-gun feedback.
Yes. I had several people who were helping me make sure that my just enough knowledge to be dangerous on firearms didn't get me in trouble.
nice.
I have a sometimes I get enough into a thing that I want to buy a thing to have on the shelf behind me.
Yeah.
Not looking at you, Mr. Nuts, or anything, but Dark Tower. I read the Dark Tower and I bought a Colt Dragoon replica, which is not, I mean, like his guns are not exactly that, of course, but they talk about how big and heavy they are. And a Colt Dragoon, I'll get my Colt Dragoon.
Hey, look, Andrew Wizard has got Mel's gun from Firefly.
Actually, I have Andrew Wizard's Mal pistol now. He gave it to me. I have it now. Yeah,
I was watching back the pub
right
last
there.
week. I was watching back the pub last week, and Matt was like, "Andrew, you must not watch Jimmy Nuts," and he was like, "Yeah, I don't watch Jimmy." I was like, "What is that?" Like he said it like he was super
Jimmy
proud. Yeah, he kind of I was like,
Of course I don't watch Jimmy Nuts. What are you
it was
talking
weird.
about?
I was like, "What? Damn, bro! Like, what did I do to you?"
Cut deep.
I thought it hurt my feelings. Like, damn.
So does this look like the gun that Roland Deschain would use, or what?
I think so. Yeah.
I almost bought another one just to have two. It needs sandalwood grips, but yeah. From playing with this, I read something in Tori's book and I was like, single action revolvers don't do that. So we
well,
straighten
in
that
fairness, they do, but just in a. I mean, yeah, it was a weird.
out. You have to hold it.
It's
and
like
pull the trigger.
Evan Winter
I will
having
take Tori's
bronze
word for it.
swords spark off one another, which can't happen.
No, bronze does not spark.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Jimmy, by the way, it pleased me greatly that you were not super lit on Prince of Thorns. That made me incredibly happy, and we're better friends now.
Yeah, I wish I had liked it more. That would have been super swell, but
High five across the world. I DNF'd that shit.
Yeah.
I almost did.
I didn't, and I wish I had.
Oh my god. I just could not spend any more time with that asshole.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending very much. So I kind of wish I would have just DNF'd it, but oh well.
Yeah.
I think we're best friends, DK Moon. I think we are, because Supernatural and the Cult, which can kill anything, is a pretty cool gun.
Magic revolvers. Yeah, but they weren't.
Or were
I have not forgotten the face of it.
The magic
I have not confirmed or denied.
the magic in the character has
Isn't
a lot
the
more to
guns.
do with zombies rather than guns. So
Yeah, she's a
That is good question,
necromancer.
though,
yeah.
about the short story that's in Advent of Winter, because I didn't get that. Do I
Yes.
need to read it? Do I
No.
need to unearth that and no? Okay.
No, the short story I actually took and I stuck it in the novel, so it's
okay.
in there. The section that was the short story is in the official novel. It's slightly different, but because I had more world building to kind of play with once I got further into it, so it has changed ever so slightly, but it's not. I mean, the bones are still the same. No pun intended.
Awesome. Good to know. Because obviously I'm getting it. You know.
You have clearly not forgotten the face of your father, Brian. Thank you.
What a great line.
Yes. And there are so many. I want to reread Dark Tower already again. I read it for the second time 2 years ago ish, and I'd reread it tomorrow, I think. Although
And you're able to read your stuff though, so I get it.
What's that?
You're able to read new stuff though, so I get it.
Yeah,
you just
although
read the things you love.
I mean, I don't compare to the queen of rereads here by any means, but I do reread a lot, and sometimes I keep thinking maybe I should read something new. I don't read new that much.
Read what you want to read.
Yeah,
basically, it's a flaw that I've had to lean into to make it okay for myself.
Oh yeah, and wanting to read new stuff is just FOMO. You know, it's
hard because there's so many amazing things out there, and I listen to people on BookTube talking about them, and I miss out. Although when I went and visited Jake Bishop, because he's got his own little thing going on now, who wrote that? And it's just a little tiny wee quiz, about 10 minutes. I did really well at being able to spot which authors wrote which quotes, even though I've read none of them, just by listening.
It's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
Jerome, I can make your life a little bit easier if you want. Don't worry about The Stand and It. Not that they're bad. I mean, read them if you want to. It's just they're huge books that are almost irrelevant to the Dark Tower. Salem's Lot is very relevant.
Yeah, it'll spoil Salem's Lot.
If you read the Dark Tower without reading Salem's Lot, you then don't have to read Salem's Lot afterwards because it'll spoil a lot of that book.
Mm-hmm.
But The Stand and It, the connections are so tenuous that I've heard Insomnia is also a book that connects to a particular part of the Dark Tower.
Okay.
But the one that really, really it will spoil the book for you if you haven't read it is Salem's Lot. So you could just read that one.
Yeah, and a lot of people want to do the prerequisite reading for Dark Tower, but actually I found it more motivating to want to read, Dark Tower worked reverse for me. Dark Tower made me want to read Insomnia, which I had no intention of ever reading. So I don't think it really matters which one comes first, except for Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot. It's a good book. I think Salem's Lot's really good.
So. There is a character in the Dark Tower from Salem's Lot, and you find out in the Dark Tower everything that happened to them in Salem's Lot. Mm-hmm. So it kind of is it more or less retells the story of Salem's Lot in the Dark Tower. So okay, but apparently Insomnia is also being recommended for Dark Tower. But I had the same experience reading the Dark Tower and knowing that a certain thing that was kind of hinted at was a connection made me want to go read that thing, but it didn't spoil it. And I didn't understand less or enjoy the book less. Really, Mitch.
Talking about you earlier, didn't you?
Really, I have never heard anyone say that. Probably because you are lying. Could it be? Is it possible? Mitch is a legend. Yes.
Did any of you guys ever see the made-for-TV series for Tommyknockers?
Oh my God, no.
Oh, dude, I watched it when I was a kid. We were still living in the trailer at the time, so I ran around with all the other trailer kids, and we would just sing the song from it. It was Tommyknockers knocking at your door. It was great. As a kid, I thought that was the greatest thing of all time.
Wow, that sounds pretty bad.
Yeah. It turned out it was not well received. A lot of people think it sucks.
But you got a great core memory out of it, Jimmy.
It was, and the whole thing in Tommyknockers, I think is they find something in the backyard, and we had a stump in the lot, so we all went around. I don't know, it was dumb. As a kid though, I thought it was the heady. That was sick.
Okay. You were easily entertained, is what you're telling us.
Well, I didn't have any toys because I was poor, so yeah. I ate dirt and played with sticks for 8 years.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, we didn't have Christmas the first 6 years I was alive. We didn't have Christmas because we didn't have anything.
Yeah, I can relate.
Damn.
I mean, I didn't care because I didn't know.
Sure. As a kid, what you've got is how reality is. Apparently, the low men in yellow coats are from Hearts in Atlantis, the Talisman and Black House.
I have heard Hearts in Atlantis has a tie-in, and I've heard a lot of people like Hearts in Atlantis quite a bit.
Yeah.
DK Moon, you haven't read any King at all? This is quite astonishing.
If you have to read one King book, I would say read The Dark Tower. It's a long book, but it's one book. No, it's not really. It's
I haven't read the Dark Tower,
numerous
but I've
books and
read
it's really
these.
long. But
And I
Salem's
like
Lot
most of them.
could be a good choice. I mean, you should ask Josh. You should ask
Mm.
Josh. Josh is my personal King expert.
Yeah.
He does do a lot of his best things that he does well in Salem's Lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if he said yes. I'm not really an authority on King. I've seen more of his adaptations and I've read his books. So.
Ooh. Okay.
I haven't read. I'm trying to think what I've read. I've read The Stand. I've read The Dark Tower. And that might be it, actually. Speaking of it, I have it on the shelf and Salem's Lot on the shelf. I haven't read them. Obviously, I've already spoiled Salem's Lot for myself, but I still want to read it. But
It is one of my favorites.
It's weird. I had for many, many years, I had Stephen King trauma because my mom was a big Stephen King fan.
Okay.
And when I was a kid, there was a bookshelf right outside my bedroom, and it had like a row of Stephen King books. And I grabbed Salem's Lot off of the shelf once when I was like 8 and had just started reading novels. And I'm like, I want to read this. And my mother freaked out. She was like, there's no way you're ever going to read this. This is not for children. You are not allowed to read it. And she kind of terrified me.
Right.
And after that, I was like, I don't want to read Stephen King ever. Stephen King is bad.
It's scary.
And it took years before I was like, actually, everybody kind of reads Stephen King. Maybe I should at least try it. And Dark Tower is in my top 10 fantasy of all time. So
I'll have to get there one day. But
Colton. Oh, no, I missed. That's the one I wanted. Colton. We are no longer friends until you finish the Dark Tower. My dude.
I haven't even started it.
Is that a general statement or just for certain people?
Because, I'm a bit worried now. But I have read it and you haven't, so.
That's true. That's true.
But Misery is one of my favorites. And
but I have Roland Deschain's gun.
That's good.
Very ominous. Just raising a pistol.
Just so you know. Hi, Britain. I missed your entrance. The Book Lounge has also appeared. How you doing?
Yeah, I think Stephen King he's been
typecast,
pigeonholed
yeah.
to horror. He doesn't write a lot of horror. Some of what he writes is horror, absolutely, but the psychological stuff that he writes, that's scary, and he knows how to get inside somebody's head, and he tells a good story. I
always think of the consistent thing with Stephen King is he does characters really well, and he's extremely nostalgic for how America used to be.
Oh, he does communities.
And that's like in almost all of his books.
Yeah,
I think. Even books that aren't really in America that much, like The Dark Tower, a lot of it is about how cool America used to be.
Yeah.
I have yet to finish one. I have a couple on my shelf that I'm going to try one more time. We'll see.
You don't have to. It's
if I feel like it. I have them. No. He's in timeout with Gunslinger right now, so I'll get back to it eventually.
Okay.
After your recent video on The Princess Bride, I'm never telling you to read anything ever again.
Are you a Princess Bride book fan?
Did you not?
So, Derry, before you freak out too much, I love the story of The Princess Bride.
Okay.
The book is, in my opinion, a lot of William Goldman, like smiling at himself in a mirror and thinking he's really clever, and not a lot of actual Princess Bride. As much as I liked the part of the book that was Princess Bride, which was like half of it, and the rest of it was William Goldman just thinking he was, the bee's knees.
Really clever.
Yeah, and I'm not a meta. Like, I am not a meta reader at all. Like, I hate when authors are like, yeah,
okay,
I really did that. Did you see what I did there? I'm out so fast. I'm just like, okay, you can just go like.
Don't continue the Dark Tower. Do not continue the Dark Tower.
No.
Meta is not my thing.
You haven't gotten to the bit of Dark Tower that you would hate.
Well, I DNF'd it because I got to a part that I hated. So I found
You're only in the first book. You're only
I
in
know.
the first book. You haven't gotten anywhere near the part you really
I
hate.
got literally like 3 chapters in, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Kathy,
Hi, Kathy.
Ah,
Hi, everyone.
hi.
the green
How's it
grandma
going?
is here.
Yeah, I keep forgetting I've done it until people mention it. Yeah,
It's pretty hard to forget if you're looking from this side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
Oh,
noticeable, but very cool. I like it.
oh, thank you. Thank you.
How
Hi,
you doing?
Jimmy.
Hi,
I've
how's
ever
it
been
going?
on screen with you before.
I feel like we have because I've seen you on so many streams, but I guess you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a wonderful thing about BookTube.
Yeah.
yeah.
You'd be
Yeah.
halfway through a conversation and then go, actually, hi, it's nice to meet you.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
We haven't
you.
met.
I feel like I know everyone, of course, but it's different
Yeah.
actually chatting to you
Absolutely.
directly on screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of streams that were awesome, Samwise was on a stream with a bunch of people on Talking Story just yesterday or day before. They all read the first book of the New Sun together and had an awesome discussion about it. I love watching things click because there are so many things you can miss or just not understand or whatever in that book.
Mhm.
And everybody gets different pieces, you know, and they're all discussing it. And you're like, you could see one person go, oh yeah, when this happened. And everyone was like, what? Who? He was a what? Yeah, it was great. Really enjoyed that. So it was hosted.
New Sun discussion.
Yeah, exactly. It was hosted by John and Jacob. It was Philip, Samwise, Nerd Level Rising,
Joanna?
Joanna,
Yeah.
and one or two other guys. Joanna was the only lady on the group. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I recommend people go look it up. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yes, exactly. Samwise, she would absolutely hate probably 2 entire books of the Dark Tower. Yeah.
And we're encouraging
Guaranteed.
her to read it.
More than that, I
Why?
would.
We're not anymore.
No.
No. Now I'm actually even nervous to recommend anything by my favorite author to her because Paul Auster is a fan of meta shit.
That's awesome. Like my husband had a great time with Princess Bride. He thought it was great. And so like that's fine.
Maybe I should
not my thing.
maybe I should invite Ben to the pub next
Probably.
time.
He's more fun, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
It's because you bottle it all up, Tori, to put in your books. That's what it is.
Yep.
You'll have to send me his Discord name, and every time I want to recommend a book to you, I'll recommend it to him, and then he can recommend it to you if he thinks it'll work.
Yeah, that's usually the reverse of how our reading life goes because he reads fewer books a year than I do. And so he kind of waits for me to read a bunch of stuff and then be like, okay, these are the 3 that I think you'll really like. He just started reading The Company by KJ Parker, which I recommended to him after reading it and is loving it.
Cool.
So that's been kind of fun. But
Oh, that's right. Samwise. Of course, I forgot. Mr.
Oh,
Rockio
Yeah.
was the Sherpa for the
yeah.
group because he's read it numerous times and understands it quite well.
big
Better than
influence
anyone
on
I know, except, well, yeah, better than anyone I know. And he was kind of guiding them through it and answering questions and things, which was very cool.
That is cool.
That's right.
Capricious Fox's comment, I would just like to say for me, I don't know about you guys, but like I absolutely take my audience's recommendations and add them to my TBR. So I have True Grit on my shelf because of the Britton and a couple of other people that were like, you need to read this. So I bought it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I do
seen
take
the film.
recommendations.
I have like a meter high stack of books over there, which
Have you still not built those shelves?
no, not yet. Which people on the pub recommended to me, and I read. I'm trying to think. I think I read Final Architecture because Anitha recommended it on the pub, and it's
Yeah.
like one of my
can't wait
favorite
to get that
sci-fis ever. It's so good.
Can't wait.
I think I I've been wrong so many times now. I'm very hesitant to say it, but I think you'll love the final architecture.
Everybody thinks I will love the final arc. There's a Motley Crue in it, Matt.
It's the motliest of Motley Crues.
Yeah, I'm gonna love it.
Space opera.
Great.
It's got freaky, weird aliens and action, over the top, epic action. It's really, really good.
Tori, I wonder if you would like Red Rabbit. Have you seen
Rabbit?
Red Rabbit by Alex Gratian?
No, I have not.
It's a Western horror, but it's like a paranormal horror, but it has a motley crew, and I think it does some of the cooler horror aspects that I've actually read.
I feel like I've heard of this before.
Yeah, it's fair. It's not like crazy popular, but he's doing well, especially in the horror genre. And then I'm about to read. No, I don't know if it'll be this month, but I'm going to read his follow up, which is Rose of Jericho, which is like a colonial witch trial thing, and they're kind of tied together a little bit, which is cool. But Red Rabbit, when I read it, I did think of you because I was like, oh, Western and Motley Crue.
I will check it out.
If you hate it,
horror,
I didn't hear it from you.
Yeah. If you hate it, my bad. But I think you would at least enjoy it. I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like my reading tastes have expanded a lot in the last 5 years. Largely because of BookTube. I feel like I'm reading stuff and enjoying things that I wouldn't have 5 to 10 years ago.
Yeah, which is great.
It's completely changed. Like before BookTube, I had one, maybe two friends who read the kind of stuff I read and read a lot slower than I do. So I was always recommending things to them, and they were reading what I told them to read, but they were rarely reading things that they could recommend to me. And I didn't feel like I don't even know how I heard about books back in the day. My friendly local bookshop, mostly, I'd go in there and say, I love reading fantasy. What's really good at the moment? And they'd recommend me something. And I knew a couple of people in bookstores. Yeah, well, I knew a couple of people in specific bookstores. I was like, I trust your opinion. What should I read next? But not like now. It's so much worse. It's so bad. Like in a day, I can add like 10 books to my TBR easily. I have to stop watching BookTube.
But how great was it when we found BookTube and we were like, I'm not the only insane person that loves to read books over doing much anything else.
Exactly.
It was the best feeling ever.
Yes, Britton Rocchio is also a Catholic, and being Catholic, or at least knowing a bit about Catholicism, helps. It's not required, but it helps when you read Book of the New Sun. I went to a Catholic boys' school, and
you didn't have a choice.
Got thrown out of religion class for arguing theology with priests. So I got a lot of the Catholic references in Book of the New Sun, but
there should be a badge for that.
I was just glad to have a free period every day. It was cool. I actually had a priest, my religion teacher, the religion class. He came up to me after one of our classes and he said, look, you're not a Catholic. Because like you have to tell them what your religion is when you join the school. And all of the people like me who are Baptists, we're on a list, you know. So he was like, look, I know you're not Catholic. And I was like, yeah. He said, well, although you're probably more engaged in what I'm teaching than anybody else in the class, they actually have to learn it because they're Catholics. And you don't. So how about we make a deal? I'll give you a B for the class and you just don't come anymore. I was like,
sounds good.
And I can do anything I want. He was like, well, you like reading, right? Why don't you go to the library? I'll write you a letter. As long as you're in the library or nearby during my class, you'll be fine. I was like,
nice.
That sounds like an awesome deal to me. So, yeah. Yeah, it's not required, but a Catholic background does help with Book of the New Sun.
Yeah, I'm not Catholic. I'm pretty versed on Bible, but not all of the Catholicism because I grew up in a different form of religion. But I still enjoyed the books quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. No, they're awesome books.
In fact, I would say despite the Catholic references.
Despite the Catholicism, yeah. Yeah, the Catholics, they do Bible different than where you grew up.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've got their very own brand of it.
Most places do.
That's true.
Yeah.
So everybody
That's
has
true.
their own version of doing the Bible.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. There is no one Bible.
But like, hey, we're readers. Like any book, you're bringing yourself to it. And it's different for everybody.
Yeah, you bring your own biases, preferences.
Yeah, for sure.
I used to be very judgmental about really religious people. And then I worked with a fantastically wonderful man for a number of years. And he and his wife are the absolute model of what being a Christian should actually be. They live it with the grace of what I've always thought should be the thing and hadn't ever seen. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it really is just who the people are and how they choose to interpret it. And I was like, oh, got it.
One of my best friends in Germany, Christian is simultaneously, as far as behavior goes, simultaneously the best Christian and the best Buddhist I know.
Yeah, because they're the same.
Like I'm a Buddhist, and I used to look at some of my Buddhist friends and think, my atheist friend is actually doing better on the Buddhism scale than you are.
Is there a scale? Do they have a rubric? Okay. Like, do you put it on the wall and you're like, I'm there?
Yeah. No, we get tattoos. Like when you achieve a certain level.
I was going to say matching tattoos.
Yeah.
No. Like every individual person gets their own tattoo, and like I'm not allowed to show you mine, but like as you progress in scale in levels of niceness, you get another line on your tattoo.
Another bar or something. Right.
Yeah, basically. Sort of, yeah.
Then we should have all up our arms, all these bars, right? Because we're all such lovely people.
Yeah, but you're not Buddhist. You're not Buddhist. You don't get them.
We're not that cool, apparently.
No.
True.
If you do have a leaning toward Christianity, the Bible says don't get tattoos. So
Doesn't
My grandpa used to call
thing I'm a
them
Buddhist.
dumb marks. Is what my
Gum marks?
no dumb marks.
Dumb marks. Okay.
Well said, my grandpa. I would say.
Yeah. Dumb marks.
Like, wow, you really put a lot of thought into that one. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
have you seen the
Oh,
Buddhist?
have you?
Oh yeah, Joanna had the Buddhist
Joanna's
monk
channel.
dude on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a lovely guy. Leckin.
Yes.
Leckin. Yes.
Lectin.
Really lovely bloke.
Yeah.
He's a lovely guy.
Yeah, it was funny. Like she did a panel with him and Herr Professor Dr. Chase, I think. And like when Lectin came on the screen, I did a Buddhist pilgrimage years ago. I went to India, lots of different monasteries and stuff. And he came on screen and I was like, I think I've been in your room. Like, it looked exactly like rooms. I mean, all rooms in monasteries basically look the same.
Yeah.
But it looked so mumuch like a room I stayed in Bodh Gaya in India. I couldn't get over it the whole time. Yeah, the Buddhist monk booktuber. Yeah, and also totally love the idea of a guy sitting there in robes with a shaved head, and he's obviously a monk, and he's got like a Buddhist altar in the background, and he's talking about some hardcore crazy sci-fi. I'm like, you're good. I like
cool.
it.
It's wonderfully jarring.
Yeah. Lectin needs to get invited to the fireside. If I knew how, I mean, I could tell Joanna. Let him know.
I feel like I haven't seen only the best fantasy novels in a while. I feel like
Rabin.
Rabin, what have you been doing, man?
Is it
Why-
Rabin?
why-
Is it?
I actually I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I think it's
I
Rabin.
don't know how it's pronounced. I always get names wrong all the time.
Rabin,
So-
tell us how your name is pronounced.
Yeah, let us know.
Is it bean like coffee bean? Or is it bean like garbage bin?
Maybe that's not the
Sorry,
nicest to compare this out.
It's a Lasny fan, yeah. That was there are two high points of my almost non-existent booktube career. One is Stephen Erickson commenting on a video I did about Malazan, and two was Rogers Lasny's son commenting on my Lord of Light video.
That's
that's
impressive.
really cool.
Yeah, although he, unfortunately, Trevor Zelazny, died last December. I think I heard he had a heart attack.
That's
That's terrible.
Bin like rubbish bin, apparently. So now I will never forget how it's pronounced. Rabin.
You're a shocker.
Yeah. Should we maybe, because as Ida commented, meow. You may have heard a cat yelling at me in the background.
That's me feeding.
It means that it's within 2 hours of Fitz's feeding time. It's actually another 20 minutes technically, but she's impatient and hungry apparently.
And
So
she's quite big. She could hurt you.
she could. All she has to do is sit on me. I took a nap on the sofa 2 days ago.
That's why you've got cramp.
I sleep on my side, and she loves, and it's really cute, but it's extremely painful. She loves to. I'm lying on my side, and she'll get up on my ribs. And she weighs 6 kilos, 14 pounds. And she stands up on my ribs and starts making biscuits.
Yep.
So
Which
you've
is
got
fine with someone with big hands, but tiny paws doing
6 kilos concentrated on these tiny paws. And she just make biscuits. And I'm like,
It's like acupuncture.
that.
Yeah.
I am so awake now, and I've got bruises on my ribs. Could you just lay down already? Anyway, why don't we
So
do
is what you're hinting at.
a splint? Yeah. Jimmy completely ruined our sprinting.
What?
Fine.
What did I do?
Just go.
You,
Okay,
you
we're gonna
appeared
rock
when we were about
Jimmy.
to start a sprint.
I just wanted to be social. My
Damn
bad.
you for being present. No, actually, it's awesome to have you here, man.
I'm glad to be.
It's wonderful.
Did we find out what Jimmy and Kathy are reading really quick?
Oh yeah, what are Jimmy and Kathy reading?
I am after you, Jimmy.
No, after you, Kathy.
I'm reading The Grey Wolf by Louise Penny and really not liking it, but I hate DNFing and I'm at 75%. And I'm also listening at other times to Dungeon Crawler Carl 5,
Nice.
Butcher's
Yes.
Masquerade. Yeah,
So
and I'm
good.
loving it. Yeah, I'm so hooked. I just love it. But yeah, I haven't listened to the entire audios before because I'm generally a reader rather than a audio
Okay,
listener.
so good,
But
though.
I'm knitting as well, so I thought perfect. And
Yeah.
I just love how he does the audio. He's so good, isn't he?
He's so nice,
Oh, he's
isn't
just hilarious. Yeah.
What are you reading,
What was
Jimmy?
it?
Oh, I'm 60 pages into Will of the Many. I'm doing that as part of a buddy read with Chance Dillon, Nerd Level Rising, Philip. I feel like I'm forgetting at least one other person.
That's right. Alan will remind me.
Yeah, I'm 60 pages into that. And then I started a bunch of books last night because whenever I'm not when I'm not sober, I start a lot of books. And I was not sober last night. So I just started like ADHD, just peeling through my bookshelf. So I started like 8 books last night.
Okay. I'm going to put my mum hat on for a second. I'm
But-
really proud of you that the bad thing you do when you're drunk is read.
I wasn't drunk,
That's
but
kind of
I was on Pluto, is what I was. I was on Pluto going through all of my books. But I started The Passage by Justin Cronin. And I thought
I love that.
Yeah, I thought the opening was super strong. And then on top of that, I also started Death of the Author by Nanette Korafor, I believe is how you say her name. I really liked Remote Control, which is a novella she wrote. And then I also started Creation Lake by Rachel Kushner, which was up for the Booker. I've heard it's like kind of like sci-fi-y. I don't know if it is or not. I'm kind of going into that one a little bit blind. It's like an undercover agent that goes to France to infiltrate some sort of like cult. I don't know. It's weird. Really weird. So out of those books, I'll probably finish one of them at least this month. So that'll be good. But Will of the Many's okay. I know it's really popular, so that'll be annoying to talk about. But like 60 pages in, and it's fine. It's okay. I like a lot of what's going on, but like starts out with a couple tropes that I'm just like already tired of, which happens. So Island
You're gonna ruin your reputation, man. Like
Why?
if you talk about a book that anyone's heard of,
yeah. People
like,
aren't going to recognize
it's all
you, Jimmy.
over.
Yeah, I
Who
only have
is this
so many.
guy?
I only have so many grandma books to read, and then I'm out, and then I won't have any more. No, that's my reputation. I read grandma books. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I love grandma books.
Grandma books. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
The Poison
You
Wood
read,
Bible.
you read grandma books, and Joanna reads Dude Bro books.
She does. She's very
Yeah.
dude bro.
Yeah.
Very dude bro Ford, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Will the many though? I mean, I'm excited for it. Like I would really love to be sucked into another fantasy series. I was really nervous about The Devils by Drew Abercrombie, by the way. So I found out that Tor's doing the pre-release chapters and I read them and I really liked the first 3 chapters. I thought that was really good. So I'm actually relieved in some ways. So
Cool.
He's
Excited
not giving
for
a wrap up, Anita. He started 8 books last night. He's
yeah,
just
shut
gone
up,
through
Anita.
everything he's reading.
You can't even read, Anita. What are you doing here?
Grumpy Smurf.
You beat me to it.
Oh, there is one other thing that I started. This is really random. Have you guys ever
That wasn't
listened to-
enough.
No, it wasn't. This one I listened to when I was having trouble falling asleep at my work trip this past week. Have you guys ever listened to any of these Audible originals that aren't books? They're like performances. Have you guys seen these?
I have
Like
seen
stage,
it.
Like audio
stage
dramas.
plays.
Yeah, like they're full
Yeah.
audio dramas, right? So
Okay.
one's called
Yeah.
Impact Winter, which is a post-apocalyptic British vampire story.
Ooh.
And I was like, well, that sounds interesting. So I listened to the first like 3 chapters or whatever, and I actually really, really like it. Davos, Liam Cunningham or whatever his name is, he's in it. And when his voice came on, I was like, Davos, and like it threw me for a loop. But yeah,
What's it
I
called?
actually liked it. I thought it was
And he's
good.
got a great voice. He's got a
Oh,
really
yeah.
awesome voice.
Well,
Winter,
even
what's
the other
Love his
voice
accent.
actors are tremendous in it, I think.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I was just kind of impressed with it for being like an Audible original. I was like, okay, I didn't know what to expect, but so far pretty cool.
Cool.
Okay, now we're going to sprint, or
Yeah.
Fitz is going to eat my leg.
Yeah, I believe I am going to drop off because I got to
Very.
get ready for dinner.
All right. Thanks for joining, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, Kathy, good to talk to you for the first time. Derry, always a pleasure. Matt, thanks for having me. Tori, I feel like we haven't talked in about 7 years. It was
I know
very
it's a
nice
problem.
to talk to you
We
again.
should fix that.
Yeah, let's chat. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's do it. Have a
fun
good night.
See you, man.
Have fun sprinting.
Enjoy your 8 books.
Thanks. I will. I'll start 8 more tonight, probably.
All right.
Again.
Cool. So let's go until 15:15.
Good stuff.
Makes sense. Yeah. Maybe 20 past. Give us a little more than half an hour.
Just over half an hour.
Yeah, cool. Make sure to mute yourselves and enjoy reads, everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Everybody back?
Hello.
No, righty.
I learned something while reading. I did not realize that if my internet completely dies, which it did, that the stream will continue uninterrupted.
Oh, nice.
The show must go on.
Apparently. I'm glad to know that. I wrote all of you quickly and went, sorry, 'cause I thought the stream died, and then I loaded the stream on my phone, on my mobile data, and it was still going, just I wasn't in it. So, yeah.
That's good to know.
My internet died. I restarted my router, and it seems to be back and fine again. How's everyone's reading? I had a good laugh.
I had a good cry and had to put my book down
Oh.
and pick up something else. So
Where are you at without being too spoilery?
I'm literally in the first chapter of Assassin's Quest.
Okay.
Just getting emotional.
Yeah, she does that.
Yeah.
Queen
Yeah.
Hob is hard on
Having a
the
break is absolutely
heart.
making it hit harder this time.
Yeah. She's a bit rough sometimes.
Yes, so I changed it for changeless and almost immediately had to laugh because of madness on a dirigible and being thrown off the side and parasols being full of madcap inventions and poisonings randomly at dinner. And yeah, it was delightfully over the top.
I'm reading Jingo, which I've already said.
Have you met
And
the Disorganizer, Mark, too?
yes. And actually the Disorganizer was in an earlier book already.
Yes.
I think 1 or 2 books ago.
Yeah.
And I had just forgotten it. But yeah, just
I like this Disorganizer.
some of the names he uses. Just the names. Like there was a list of names of members of the Beggars Guild, and I was just cracking up just because of the names. There was nothing funny happening. It was just like a list of really funny names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He does the comedy good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
You've
very
read all the way
funny.
through, almost. You did Night Watch, Tori?
We are in Night Watch right now. Yes. We're about 20-30% in.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm liking it.
I read it. Yeah, I really like it.
I'm
I think
excited.
it's my favorite of the City Watch books. Yeah.
I'm going to
I'm-
get hold of the Penguin classic because they're going to have apparently an annotated version. So I'm looking forward to that.
Cool. I went ahead and just because sometimes when I find certain editions that I like, I'm just like, I maybe they won't be there in a year. You know, you never know when they're going to run out. So I bought in these editions, these small hardbacks with the bookmark ribbon,
I want to get those.
all of the City Watch. Although they don't all have the bookmark ribbon because they changed publisher at some point and they printed. They did a really good job of sticking with it.
Yeah.
Like the covers are consistent and the size and the material and the quality. Just they removed
Just
the
don't have
bookmark
the ribbon.
ribbon, which is
I
sad.
like my
I like bookmark.
backs.
Yeah,
I've read some of them, but I just love the paperbacks.
I forget who did the covers, but they had. I like the art style very much on the
Paul
old.
Kidby
Or could be. Yeah.
Yeah,
did some, and there was I've forgotten the
Josh
first
Kirby.
person. Yes, that's the one.
okay.
Yeah, I just love them. I tried both. I bought one of each, and I thought I really like hardcovers, but these paperbacks are
Hi,
just.
Marianne.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah. Hi, Marianne.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, it's
My book is not getting better. I'm at 80%, and I'm like, I just.
how long is it?
I've read.
Kathy?
It's not very long. It's about 400 pages.
Oh, that's
And I'm almost done now. But this is like her 18th book. And I've loved so many, but the last few I've been really. I read for murder mysteries, and instead it's more of a thriller. And I'm just zero interested in that. And she's
You're not
also
feeling
starting, preach. She's preachy. She's now preachy about some of her politics. And I don't have a problem with an author talking about their politics, but I don't want to be preached at. So, yeah, it might be my last Louise Penny, which is a real shame because I love all the rest, or most of them anyway. Yeah.
That's something. I mean, I preach Erickson basically every Sunday pub, but it's something I find that he does really, really well.
Yep.
Like when you read Malazan, it's really clear what his politics are, but it also never feels like he's preaching to you. He's just going, here are some things, think about them.
Yeah.
You know, and this thing could be bad. Yeah. So, but it never feels like he's like, you must think this way.
I think it's because there's no judgment. Like he puts out his idea or proposition, but it's without any judgment, without any real inflammatory language, which I think when an author does include something inflammatory, immediately you know, okay, they have an axe to grind.
They are telling me something.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were asking Tori.
Tori, how's your reading?
I read a chapter and I also vacuumed and I also did something else. I can't remember. But I'm on chapter 2 of Empire of Silence and I think I've been hooked.
Nice.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Cool.
The ending of chapter 2 had me like, ooh, that was a good, I'm here for it. All right, let's go.
Yeah, and you've got the advantage also that you haven't and probably never will read Book of the New Sun. Like if you're a Book of the New Sun fan, I struggled a bit, especially in Empire of Silence, because there are a lot of things where you're like,
parallels.
oh, that's from Book of the New Sun, and that's from Book of the New Sun, and that's also from Book of the New Sun. And they're just a bit too obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, he was talking about it in this stream that he did yesterday, day before. A lot of people think he's like this old school Book of the New Sun fan. He said he started reading Book of the New Sun while he was writing Empire of Silence.
Ah.
And that's maybe why it was like forefront of his brain.
Yeah.
And it just got into the book a bit too much. If you know Book of the New Sun, you're just constantly going, oh, okay, look at that, look at that, look at that.
Yeah.
And there's a fair bit of Dune in there as well. But if you're already hooked in the second,
I have not read either of those yet.
There you go.
Yeah.
Normally, I would say, "What is wrong with you? You haven't read Dune." But for reading Suneater, it might be an advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to read Dune in the near future. I have no idea if I'm going to like it or not.
I think you'll hate it. That's now my default attitude towards anything that I love. When you read it, is you'll hate it.
See, we've liked some of the same stuff though.
Like what?
Well, we both loved the things they carried.
That's true.
That was a really fun read.
That's true.
And we both love Malazan.
That's also true.
That's like the major one.
And
we both love City Watch.
We actually couldn't be friends if you hated Malazan.
I don't hate Malazan.
No,
actually.
I know. I'm very glad because I like being your friend. Yeah. So cool. Yeah. Cool.
No. We've
So
got some good ones. The ones that matter are there.
Do you want to answer this, Tori?
I have this with Nita.
First of all, Aslan, her name is spelled Tori.
It's okay. I have seen every spelling iteration of my name. It's
fine.
But
it's good. It's good to know.
It's a good book. Tori would love it. Hey, Tori likes plenty of good books.
I do. Yeah.
Most recently.
This is a little bit how I feel. Like Tori and I have a bit of a history, a more recent history, I guess, of me going, I read this a long time ago. It's really cool. We should read it together. And we read it together. And she's like, I fucking hated it. Or then, totally independent of me, she picks up a book I love and is like, I fucking hated it. I'm like, are the only things we actually both like all Malazan books?
No.
or the things they carried.
And
Reading
Pratchett.
is so weird, though.
And Pratchett. That's true. That's
And we
true.
both like Robin Hobb.
That's true. That's true.
Yep.
That's one of the places where
See,
It's a cool
Kathy
one.
has sort of disappointed me.
Yes.
And
Well,
you're-
I'm so
We were
sorry,
touching
but
on it for a minute.
yeah, not sorry.
No, I
Sorry.
didn't
There
think
are
so.
just some
Mm.
authors I actually
That's
would
okay.
like to love her, but
This is
because she has
this
a
is where the
long
sheer
series.
volume
just doesn't work.
of
Yeah.
everything else that Kathy does like
Yeah.
balances out the fact
Yeah.
that she doesn't like Hobb.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Look,
You're lucky.
honestly, it's really hard, isn't it, when there are books that you feel this should be right up my alley, and yet it just doesn't work for me for some reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love
mean-
Malazan, and I love Pratchett, and I love Dresden, and I love Wheel of
Such a cool
Time,
girl.
which I know Matt doesn't like. So, yeah, there's lots
I
of
haven't
things I
read Wheel
do.
of Time. It's
I
just the
haven't
the first third of the first book is garbage. That's all I know.
Well, you've only read a couple of hundreds, so you don't really know what the rest of the book's like.
Yeah.
But regardless, we're not going to agree on Wheel of Time. But
No.
anyway, the truth is we just can't all have the same taste. I mean,
And we
Reading is
should.
weird.
I know.
And
It would
what
be kind of
Yeah.
boring
you
if we
agree
did.
and don't agree with.
Matt, we will continue to have buddy reads until we find one that both of us are like complete obsessed with. It's gonna happen.
I'm
Or you'll
starting
both
to get the
hate it.
feeling though, like if you compare the two of us, that I'm easier than you are to please. So our next buddy read, you should recommend something, and then I can hate it, but I probably won't.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
Maybe.
think Tori-
I have-
Something.
I
the
bounce off of content faster than you do, I think.
Yeah,
Like I think maybe that. I don't know.
I think it is that. I'm not very content sensitive.
Mm.
Like I know there are a lot of things that will really trigger you and be a problem for you.
I wouldn't
Which-
say a
which
lot. I'd say
I-
there's a couple that like really will immediately.
Yeah.
A lot in the
There's
books
no-
that we've tried to read together.
Yeah.
So yeah, like with live ships, all of your complaints when you said it, I was like,
Mm,
yeah, I guess that's right, but it had never occurred
Yeah.
to me.
that's fair.
I'm like, this is
Fair.
just how these horrible characters are, and you know,
I was unaware of those triggers. And it was only when we had the discussion, I was like, oh, yeah, no. You don't have to. No,
Don't
it's
keep
not
going.
going to work for you.
yeah,
The short version for Aslan, who has been very patient, the short version of this is that I read exactly one Gene Wolfe book years ago and hated
But which-
it so
but
much.
which one? Which one?
Fifth Head of
Fifth Head of
Cerberus.
Cerberus. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
And like I said, I'm not a meta brain reader. I do not like meta
Yeah.
books. And Gene
Yeah.
Wolfe is so obsessed with himself in terms of how clever he is. In my opinion, that's how he reads. That's how he reads to me individually.
Sure.
I know that's not the case for everybody, but it really, I bounce off of author egos real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So-
can understand that. I bounced off The Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. Everyone was saying it's fantastic. And I just thought, there is too much ego in this book, and I am just not.
Like if the character has
Not
an ego,
like
that's
that.
fine.
No, no, the
But
author.
when it's in the author
thought he
voice,
was much
yeah.
smarter than I thought he was, and I just didn't enjoy it. Yeah. So I get it. We all have like preferences in
Yeah.
our reading, what we like,
Yeah.
what we don't like.
Yep.
And I don't think I have a lot of triggers or content that puts me off, but a character can. If I
Mhm.
really hate a character, it can diminish my enjoyment of a book.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm a lot more
yeah.
forgiving, not forgiving, but like prose isn't usually like I love some stuff that's very, very straightforward, sparse prose. I love some stuff that's really, dense and elevated. So like I have a pretty prose is I know a big thing for a lot of people. Magic is
Mm.
not a big deal for me. Like I don't care as long as it doesn't overshadow the characters. I really couldn't care less. So I mean, I think everybody's kind of got their different like things that bother you, things you don't really care about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I can't decide whether Thornall's being serious or if he's just trying to get Brian
He's
to
cold.
He's trying to troll
explode.
Brian.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
It's working, I
Trolling.
think.
Although the way I read what he said was the Magicians gets better as soon as you start reading something else, meaning as soon as you stop reading the Magicians, it
It's
gets
good.
better,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
true.
it's better.
Which is true because I've also tried to read it and
read anything
didn't
else.
manage. Yeah.
I haven't read it, and I don't think I will because
No.
too many people hate it. So
I would
That's
why
certainly
waste
not
my
recommend it.
time? Mm.
It's on my garbage list. My garbage list isn't actually that long. I say the word garbage quite often, but only about a few books.
So there are
I-
people I will listen to a garbage review from in that I didn't enjoy this because, and I'll be like, well, those things don't actually bother me. I might have a look at that.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've actually picked up books because I heard rant
Same.
reviews of them where I was like, oh, okay, you're an idiot
Yeah.
and you hated it. And I'm not an idiot. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm not an idiot like you are. So maybe I'll like it. Or
It's
just-
interesting you say that because I've judged people from the way they've reviewed books that I know. And I've listened to them and I've gone, okay, clearly you just didn't get it. You are not as clever as I thought you were.
one day, Derry, you'll be a Malazan fan, and then you'll have that experience constantly.
Yeah. I have that with Bob. And it doesn't try and be, big brain energy. Not that I'm saying that Erickson is trying to be big brain energy, but the series has developed that.
It's kind of big brain, yeah.
Mythos.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then there are people who want to take seriously books that aren't for that. And those people, again, I don't get it. This is for fun. This one isn't taking itself seriously. You're judging it for things it doesn't have that it never wanted to have.
I've talked to people about Malazan, and like if someone says I don't like Malazan, I'm like,
Cool.
Totally get it. It's not easy. It does a lot of things that a lot of books don't do. I can understand not enjoying it. But then the people who are trying to argue in some sort of objective way that like Erickson can't write character. Like, have you read anything he wrote?
Yeah.
Really? Those kind of arguments don't work at all because they're just objectively false. But like, I don't like it. Totally fine. No problem.
Well, that's a preference, isn't it? It's not really a criticism of the book.
Rogue is my
agrees
nemesis.
with your opinions, but he strongly disagrees with your video essays.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well,
Aren't your video essays about your opinions?
not about specific books though. My video essays are usually more about like just topics within the book community or about reading or writing in general, as opposed to specific.
Oh, okay.
I liked or disliked this book.
Right.
But yeah, Rogue and I have very opposite taste, and it's always entertaining.
That is one thing most people in here can at least disagree with entertaining in mind, as opposed to just being unpleasant.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to pop out really quick, guys. My husband and son just got back from a camping weekend, and I'm going to go say hi to them. So thanks for hanging
Lovely
out.
to see you.
And I
Thanks for
love
coming.
all of your faces.
Good to see you.
I'll see you soon.
Ciao.
Thank you. I should head off too, actually.
Yeah, and it's
your bedtime, Gav.
in general, it's also getting late here. Not quite as late as it is or early as it is for Kath. But I'd say that's not a bad spot to wrap it up in general.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay.
I have had another lovely Sunday pub. Thank you all for joining me. It's always it's always a weird experience every week because I write people on like Friday or Saturday and I say, hey, it'd be cool if you can come. Here's a link. And a lot of people are like, I'm not sure. Or some people don't answer at all. Or some people like, Jimmy just wrote back, thanks. I'm like, what does that mean, dude? Are you coming? Are you not coming? Are you not sure? That's also fine. But like, so this week I was actually like, maybe I'll just be alone on screen. And it turned out to be a hell of a lot more interesting than that. I'm fine with being alone on screen, by the way. Don't feel pressured if I invite you that you have to come. I have no problem blathering on about whatever for a couple hours all by myself. I can do that. That's fine.
I really
Right.
love doing this. If you're a
Me too.
bit earlier, I would do it more often, but it does get late here. So sometimes I'm just too tired. But
Yeah,
anyway,
no,
this
it's
was
totally understandable. Nobody has to be here every week, but you've been a pretty regular, Kath, and that's awesome. I loved it. I loved having everybody in the chat. Thank you, as
Yes,
usual,
that's
to all of
right.
you as well. You
everyone.
guys really make it.
Yeah, you're right.
Check out the upcoming DLC for Stellaris. Ooh, okay. Not for me. See, my deal with Stellaris, which is a space. Now, let's just say space game. My deal with Stellaris is I play it with a friend, and he's really into it, so he gets all the DLCs. And then when we play together, he already has all the DLCs, and I don't have to get them. So I will make sure that he gets the DLCs, and then we can start a new game together. Good to know, Thornall. Thank you.
Awesome.
It's been
Good night,
awesome.
everyone.
Everybody have a great week.
Yeah, great one.
Sunday pub as usual next week. No changes. No, I'm in town. So see you all in a week.